This is the Academy. The Academy is always the first Sunday of every month. So welcome to August the 2nd to our Academy. And I'm going to introduce Gary. Gary Sanders lives in Portland, Oregon. He is originally from the Los Angeles area, where he was founder of the SCV Mindfulness and led up to 3 weekly meditation groups for over 5 years. He was empowered to lead Buddhist meditation and Dharma groups at Against the Stream Buddhist Meditation Society. He helped from the ground level to found Refuge Recovery, a Buddhist-based recovery program for all addictions, which is now spread worldwide. After moving to Portland, Gary was asked to join the teaching staff at Portland Insight Meditation Community. Gary travels frequently. I don't know how you travel frequently at the moment, Gary. Do let me know. Travels
just in my mind.
and teaches daylongs and workshops all over North America. And I'll end it there, actually. Yeah. What I would say is Gary endorses several recovery programs, including Recovery Dharma, Refuge Recovery, 8-Step Recovery, Buddhist Recovery. So I am going to hand over to Gary for this month's Academy. So welcome.
Thank you, V. Melisara. I was quite pleased when I heard that you were going to be co-host. I love Robin and I love Valentine, but yeah, you and I've got to be friends. Since what was that second Gen X Buddhist
the second
conference?
Gen X Buddhist Teachers Conference. Yeah.
A whole lot's changed since then. Buddhist recovery movement has changed tremendously and grown so much, and it's just an honor to be part of that. And one of the things I was, and I guess I'll lay it just to be transparent. I will probably use a lot of 12-step terms. It's the thing I got sober in. I got sober in men's AA specifically, and it's the thing I've stayed in despite all the other Buddhist recovery things that I've been a part of. That's been the constant, that I've been a part of 12-step AA. And yeah, so I'll use some of those terms. Please forgive me if it raises any uncomfortable feelings or pokes you a certain way. I understand that that's not everybody's cup of tea. As a Buddhist, we have to do a little bit of manipulation, a little bit of backbending to be able to fit ourselves in that program. So anyway, I chose for the topic emotional sobriety. And I don't know about you all, I heard frequently when I first got sober, I kept hearing this term, to feel comfortable in your own skin. That, that someday you work the steps, you work the whatever program you're in, and you'll feel comfortable in your own skin. And boy, I understood that logically. I kind of got the concept of it, but the present moment experience, the first-hand experience of feeling comfortable in my own skin, I don't think I've ever known that my whole life until I did a lot of work, and it's the thing that one of the many unknowns that came out of sobriety. I just wanted to stop. My thing is cocaine and alcohol and pills and sex, and whatever else I could get my hands on. So I realized that, some of you have process addictions, and your story might be different. The things that you've done in the heat of your addiction might look very differently than mine, but essentially we all have the same core stuff. We all have suffered from our addictions. We all have really, lost ourselves, lost our way under that possession of addiction. And so I just wanted to stop killing myself. I showed up to very much the same. I showed up to a Dharma center and I showed up to AA with about the same level of desperation. I've tried everything else. Nothing works. Please show me. Please help me try a different way. And, so that was my intention. I just wanted to stop killing myself. I wanted to stop feeling miserable all day long. I wanted to stop causing my own misery. And that was thankfully, that was the big insight at the middle of my last bender. I was the cause of my own misery because of all the things that not just the cocaine, not just the alcohol, but all the stuff. If I was a little bit high, if I was, on some pills that weren't prescribed to me, and just slightly buzzed, I made horrible decisions. And then, and then it'd be off to the races. So I just wanted to stop that, but I kept hearing this thing, feeling comfortable in your own skin. And it was that it started to stir things in me. And, and it was a lofty goal. Boy, I'd like to feel that. And, thankfully, the Buddha has offered a very simple program to be able to realize this feeling comfortable in your own skin, which is the same thing. To me, it's the same thing as emotional sobriety. Not just the dry sobriety. I put down the drugs, I put down the alcohol, I've restricted my relationship to food and to sex, or whatever it is. That's just the first part, right? Now we have to do the work to turn within and figure out why we are driven to do these things, why we have these compulsions to take ourselves out of the moment and to feel what's arising, in this mind and this body. So the story goes, the Buddha sent 500 monks, men. This is the story. He sent 500 monks into the forest to practice. He gave them an object of meditation. They went out to this forest. They had this great intention. We're gonna practice for a while, and they were met by, it said, these tree spirits, these devas, celestial beings that lived in the trees. And at first, they liked these monks. They thought, they're all right. And then quickly, these tree spirits did not want the monks there anymore. They started to attack them. They started to scare them. They tried their best to drive these monks off. And it said that the monks were so scared that they got sick. And I don't know about you, I've gotten sick a lot in my addiction. I was a messy alcoholic. Yeah. If I was in a men's meeting, I would have been a little more descriptive of that, but I'm going to set that aside right now. And I'm not talking about sex, by the way. So they were so sick, they couldn't practice. They couldn't focus on this object of meditation that the Buddha gave. So they ran back in mass. They all ran back like a Benny Hill episode, back to the Buddha. And they're like, bro, these tree spirits don't want us here. What are we going to do? And so the Buddha gave this practice of cultivating this attitude to feel comfortable in our own skin. And for us here collectively, this way to find and embrace and live with emotional sobriety. And so I wanted to read this teaching. I'll give a little commentary on how we can apply this to recovery. So it is said that the Buddha said, this is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness. You think about goodness. What's goodness to you? Sober, honest, loving, forgiving. So this is to be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. What's the path of peace? It brings freedom from suffering. Addiction is suffering. So this path of peace to find freedom from addictions and ultimately ultimate freedom. So he says, let them be able and upright. And I think of how many times have those of us with substance addiction, how many times have we not been upright? How many times have we been blacked out? How many times have we been passed out, totally checked out? And certainly all of us, with whether it's process or whatever, totally checked out, not able and upright. So we set this intention to be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech. This is a 12-step thing. Restraint of pen and tongue, or tongue and pen, whatever order it goes in. Straightforward and gentle in speech. Also, not just the external speech. How about the way that we talk to ourselves? Being straightforward and gentle in speech. Humble and not conceited. Boy, I don't know about you. I had a lot of false bravado, covering up the fear, the pain that was inside. So being humble and not conceited. Contented and easily satisfied. That doesn't sound obsessive or compulsive. It's also, that's, to me, acceptance, right? And 12-step, this is, acceptance is key. Or Buddhist practice, acceptance is key. How about equanimity? So contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways. Keep it simple. Peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful. That sounds like emotional sobriety. Peaceful and calm and wise and skillful. Drop the drugs, drop the behaviors, cultivate acceptance and love and forgiveness and generosity in this present moment. Peaceful and calm, wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Whew. How many times have we done things that we just totally regret in the heat of addiction? The manipulation, the lying, the cheating, maybe even in sobriety, dry. We've made some really bad decisions, and so setting this intention to not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Esteemable acts, being of service, being kind and forgiving, and this is the practice. So the Buddha said, wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Depending on the translation, may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful. So this is the practice, this cultivation of heart and mind. May all beings be at ease, whatever living beings there may be, whether they're weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Not saying just the ones that we like, not just saying the skin color or the religious or political background we're in, or where we're the location wise. All beings, which includes ourselves. May all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another. Again, heat of addiction, manipulation, gaslighting, stealing. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Sounds like resentment. What do they say in 12-step? That resentment is the number one offender. That's the one thing that takes us out of sobriety. It leads us off to a very unskillful or very harmful path. So, and then he offers this additional level. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart one should cherish all living beings. And so bringing in this idea of safety and protection, to protect, the Buddha later talks about cultivating this boundless heart of loving kindness. With having a boundless heart, we also need to protect it, which means setting healthy boundaries. We can be totally forgiving. We can let go of the blame, the hatred, and the shame, for things that we've done and said. We can let that all go and still set very clear boundaries. These are certain people that I can't hang out with. These are certain areas that I can't do. I can have an open, full heart, and I also need to make sure that I don't put myself in unskillful, harmful situations. So the Buddha says, so with a boundless heart, one should cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths. So again, this limitless, right? Everywhere, all beings. Outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, judgment, criticism, prejudice, resentment, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, not lying down passed out, but lying down mindfully. He's saying it doesn't matter what your meditation pose is, that you can practice this. Free from drowsiness, sobriety, right? Free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be a sublime abiding. Other translations, this is said to be a sublime attitude, a divine abode. These beautiful, flowery words, terms for this state of emotional sobriety. This is said to be a sublime abiding by not holding to fixed views. Whew, that's a big one. What would your life be? What would your life look like if you let go of those stories that you so strongly clung to? I'm an abused kid. I'm a liar. I'm a cheater. I'm a thief. Them, me, delusion of separation. By not holding to fixed views, and just political fixed views, social, racial fixed views, by not holding to fixed views. So dropping delusion, rigidity, dropping that state of being not teachable. So by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires. Freed from all sense desires, that sounds like dropping, letting go of craving, changing our relationship to craving, addiction, obsession, compulsion. So being freed from all these sense desires is not born again into this world. So if you have any kind of training in Buddhism, any kind of beliefs in this Buddhist path, the goal is to be fully liberated. You know, we're not just talking about stress relief. We're not just talking about raising some levels of happiness and, you know, unburdening ourselves a little bit. The end goal of this is to realize ultimate freedom, enlightenment, nirvana. And the Buddha said, when you reach this ultimate state, you escape this cycle of samsara, life and death and rebirth. Keep going and going and going until you reach liberation. And so the Buddha said this very small teaching, to live ethically, all these different ways of living ethically, and then training our minds with this kindness for all beings, opening these hearts, cultivating these hearts with this sublime attitude of metta, of loving kindness, and other translations, loving friendliness, goodwill even. If you practice this, you will not be reborn again into this world. If you practice this, you will be free. You can realize true liberation. Most of us, especially if you do a more secular approach or you've done an MBSR, it's very much about concentration practices. Mindfulness of breath being the biggest one. A wonderful object of meditation. Wherever you go, you're breathing. As long as you're alive, you're breathing. You can bring attention to it, that felt sense in the body, that's present moment experience, to get us out of our stories, coming into this body. So interestingly, it's part of the first foundation of mindfulness. The Buddha talked about mindfulness of breath less than 10 times in the Pali Canon. I've heard this. I didn't count this myself, so I'm repeating from a monk who I trust. The Buddha only talked about mindfulness of breath less than 10 times. He talked about the practice of loving kindness, of metta, over 100. Do this, you will be free. Do this, you will achieve emotional sobriety. Do this, you will cultivate a boundless heart that does not hold ill will, doesn't want to harm anyone, is honest, upright, and true, pure. That's emotional sobriety. So this practice, we're gonna, and I like to say this a lot, you can learn about this stuff. You can have all the books in the world. And I know a bunch of you have a huge self-help library at home. How much has that helped you? Until you experience this stuff firsthand, that's when it can change your life. So stop talking about it. Let's do it. This practice of metta has evolved through the years, in the West, bringing in Buddhist psychology. It's been turned into phrases to use again and again. And it's not just about the phrases. Maybe you've done this with the phrases only. That in itself can be a great concentration practice, but the Buddha talked about cultivating this sublime attitude, this sublime abode. So we're talking about feeling. We're talking about feeling this in our hearts, our minds, our bodies. So we're going to try and cultivate these states of loving kindness. The intention is to open our hearts. Please find a comfortable posture. You don't need to have a rigid posture like you do in a concentration practice. You can do that if you want, totally fine. But boy, it's and I realize I'm saying boy a lot. That's a gender-specific thing. I never use that term. All of a sudden today, I caught myself saying it 3 times. I am sorry I'm being gender-specific. Wow. Just want to put it out. Please forgive me. But it is fantastic if you can relax into I'm sitting on a couch. Relax into a couch, a big easy chair. Maybe lay down if you want. It's a great practice to do while you're lying in bed and you can't go to sleep and you're in your mind and all that stuff. Practice this. So let's sit for a little bit. Just taking maybe 4 really big breaths. Big full breath in through the nose. Fill the lungs, and then a real slow breath out through the mouth, cleansing and relaxing. Another big full breath, and let the breath purify and release. There's a big full breath, slow breath out, let the shoulders drop, the belly soften. One more big breath, the biggest one you've taken today, all the way down to the bottoms of your lungs, and then a super slow breath out through the mouth. Letting this loving awareness just drop into your body right now. You just let go of the breath. Let the breath breathe itself. Drop into the body and bring attention to the posture. How's your posture right now? Comfortable? Is it sustainable? Maybe elongating the spine and let it fall back into a comfortable posture. Even doing little micro adjustments can help. Dropping down even further, feeling the weight of your body pressing into the cushion or the chair, the ground you're on. So this present moment experience, this body held down by gravity, ultimately to the earth, supported by this earth. Feeling all the little other pressure sensations on the body, the weight of your clothes or the texture. Feeling felt sense of the temperature on the body. feeling that felt sense of the breath in the body. Especially bringing awareness to that rise and fall of the chest or the belly. Allowing the breath to find a natural pace. Knowing that in-breath and that out-breath. And then redirecting this awareness of the breath in the belly or the chest, and to bring attention to the heart center, the heart space. Usually around the middle of the chest or like the sternum area, the place where you experience a lot of emotion, the heart space. And we start to intentionally breathe in and out of that space. And so as we're breathing in and out of this heart space, we'll introduce one phrase of metta, of loving friendliness. Maybe even imagining breathing it in on the in-breath into the heart space. May I be happy. Starting to repeat it over and over, and allowing yourself to accept it as much as you can. May I be happy. May I be happy. I realize if you're new to the practice, if you're new to sobriety, maybe you have a really difficult relationship with yourself. It doesn't feel right to offer yourself happiness. So any kind of resistance to your heart space, anything that blocks that path of offering, wishing yourself happiness, to meet that resistance with kindness. Meet it with forgiveness. If it feels impossible right now, just open yourself up to the possibility of working towards this. Honoring where you're at right now. Breathing in. May I be happy. And again, it's not just about the phrase. The phrase can be a helpful tool. But as we're offering this wish to ourselves, bring to mind some time in your life, a memory, when you were really happy. Maybe it was situational, maybe it was somebody that you were with. Maybe it had to do with an experience. Bringing this to mind and allowing yourself to feel that happiness again. You might find it helpful. In fact, I encourage you to bring a smile to your face, even if it's a little bit forced right now. Bring a smile up. Bring up this feeling of happiness and start to breathe into it. Offer some effort into it, some energy into it. Let it build. May I be happy. May I be happy. Let's sit for a couple minutes cultivating this happiness. And of course, like everything else, feelings are impermanent. They come and go, they arise and pass, they ebb and flow. This feeling of happiness will also ebb and flow. It might go away. Just lovingly allow yourself to start over again. Bring up that memory or another memory. Start over, cultivating happiness. This warmness start to radiate out of your heart center. Radiate out, fill the heart, the mind, this body. May I be happy. May I be happy. And then we'll introduce a new phrase, offering this motherly protection to ourselves, this wish for safety. May I feel safe and protected. May I feel safe and protected. Letting this loving, protective metta embrace the heart and mind. When we cultivate this boundless heart, may we feel safe and protected. So bring into mind some time in your life, from the minute you were born to this moment right now, time when you felt safe. Time when you felt free of fear and danger, whether it was from an external source or internal source. May I feel safe and protected. May I feel safe and protected. Free of fear and danger. May I feel safe and protected no matter where I am or what I'm doing. May I live with some confidence. then breathing in this new phrase. May I live with ease. May I live with ease. Bringing a memory of a time when you felt very comfortable, peaceful. None of this is about make-believe. This is about bringing these memories when you actually felt these things, allowing yourself to feel it again. May I live with ease in this body and this mind. May this heart be peaceful. Letting peace and ease radiate out of this heart center. With happiness and safety, peacefulness. I also wish for our own freedom. Breathing in to this heart center. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I be free from all addictions, the causes and conditions of these addictions. May I be free. May I be free. May I be free from suffering, from hatred, greed, and delusion, the three poisons. May I be free of dukkha, suffering, dissatisfaction, stress. May I be free. And breathe into this heart center and send this loving kindness out, this metta out in all directions. To everyone that's logging in on this call now and anyone that's watching it in the future. Wishing for every single one listening to this right now. Happiness, safety, peace and ease, freedom. Freedom from suffering, from addiction. Each one of us be free. And then really sending it out even further to all the recovery community, no matter what program they're in. Especially sending out to all the hearts of those still suffering in addiction, the ones that just relapsed, the ones that are dry, the ones that need to get sober. Each one of us, regardless of our addiction, substance, or process, each one of us be happy. Each one of us feel safe and protected. Each one of us live with ease. Every single one of us, without exceptions, learn to feel comfortable in our own skin. May every one of us achieve not just physical sobriety, but emotional sobriety. Each one of us be free. Each one of us, without exception, be free. And just sending this wish out to all beings everywhere, all walks of life, all over this whole world, in this realm, all other realms, not just all people, but all animals, all beings, all the furry ones and the feathery ones and the scaly ones, without exception. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. So when you're ready, just bring in some awareness back into your body, eventually back to the screen. Giving the body what it needs right now. Maybe you need to stretch, maybe you need to stand up. So this program, not just AA, not just 8-step Buddhist recovery, not just Refuge or Recovery Dharma or Rational or Celebrate or Smart or SOS. This program that the Buddha taught is 2,600 years old. This program that the Buddha taught to build, to cultivate this boundless heart, to achieve emotional sobriety, and ultimately to achieve freedom. This practice. It's a practice. For me, I've been practicing for a while, started in the Zen tradition, and who didn't practice any of the Brahma Viharas, the heart practices. And when it was taught the Metta practice, that's when I realized the depth of self-hatred. Even though I've been sober for a while, even though I've been doing the work, even though I've been meditating for a while, the level of self-hatred, of judgment, of all those heavy stories that I still carried, completely felt like a wall. I could not offer myself this happiness, this kindness, no way, because I did this, and this, all that shame, all that guilt, still holding on. Thankfully, if I've learned anything in sobriety, I've learned if I feel resistance towards doing something, it's probably the thing I need to do the most. What do they say in 12-step? You only need to change everything. So for me, I talked to my teacher, and and his teacher taught him the same thing, and Sharon Salzberg's done the same essential thing. Committing. If your hardest category in this is yourself, commit to offering yourself this kindness at least a few minutes a day. For me, I was told to do it for a year, every day for a year. In that year, I don't know at what point it changed everything. Completely changing the relationship with myself. Almost getting rid of my critical voice. That constant 24/7 of judgment and criticism in my head that was towards everything I did and said, and also, of course, in turn towards all of you, because I had to share the misery and the blame. I changed the relationship with myself, and then I changed it, and then that, in turn, it changed my relationship with the world and everybody and everything else. Kept doing it for 2.5 years until I reached this point where I felt comfortable in my own skin. It's the thing. I did the work. I worked the steps. I work with others. I did a lot, men's groups and other. I got the self-care library, therapy, this practice, Metta. And I will say as well, if offering yourself this kindness or offering others this kindness just feels like a complete block, and instead of struggling with it, just use the forgiveness phrase. Just use the simple phrase, I forgive you. I forgive you. Offer that again and again to yourself, to others, about certain situations or, the stories. And then when that starts to soften things up a bit, and then switch to Metta, and then, cultivate this, and really cultivate this deep embracing of interconnection, that we're all in this together. And this is this thing in sobriety and this Buddhist path. Ram Dass says, I know Ram Dass isn't a Buddhist per se, but he says, we're all walking each other home. So we all get to do this together. We all get to wake up together. We get to get sober together. I've been talking a lot. I was told I could go from 30 to 60 minutes. And since got some addiction in me, I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. I'm going for 60 minutes. If there's any questions or comments, maybe, are we doing the hand raise thing here? Hit raise hand and we'll host will call on you.
Question?
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. Good evening. And thank you for the meditation. I have a question about the point when you open your heart. Maybe if a few people could tell me, this sounds so ridiculous, how should I imagine, what are ways that I can imagine that to make it more efficient? I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. And this request, how do I do this? It's not one size fits all. It's not just one answer. It's with all the practices. The minute that you can start to make it your own practice, make it personal to you, that takes it to a whole nother level. So the things that have worked for me, I am a very visual person. So through the years, I imagine this heart center, this sacred heart kind of thing. It's glowing out. It's, brilliant light shining out, this loving light that's shining over me and it's shining over others. Through the years, I've thought about it as big waves of metta flowing out of my heart, big loving waves and washing over people. Or maybe it's like a sea mist or light rain. This beautiful, refreshing light rain of metta over myself and others, or pixie dust, little Tinkerbell, whatever works. I know some people aren't visual, so maybe the felt. I didn't do this today. I usually like to offer this as a suggestion, especially when we're offering this to ourselves. Place your hand over your heart center, just so you can connect with it. And to breathe in and out of that place. Put one hand, put both hands, not out of security, not tight, but softly, right here. Breathe into here. Breathe in this effort. Breathe in this energy. Let it build. Maybe it's like a balloon. Let it breathe into it. Let it blow up. Maybe it's like a fire. This beautiful fire of love and kindness. You stoke it, right? You let it build up. That's what. Anybody else have any tricks that have worked for them?
I could, sometimes I think of the metta being the sunshine, opening up a flower. Yeah, so the flower opening, and that's a heart. And somatically, I think, like, if you clench your fist, this is when we're tense, and so your heart isn't going to open. So if you can just breathe, you breathe, the heart, just the fist just opens. Yeah. So I think plenty for Gisela to go with. Anybody else with questions for Gary?
I do see a question in the, Joanna C says, what do you think about needing to turn thine's will? Or she put wines. Is that a Freudian slip? Thine's will over to a higher power. So again, you know, I got sober in 12-step. I'm still part of 12-step. For me, and I was raised Jehovah's Witness. I don't know if there's a few Buddhists out there that have been raised that same way, and we connect on a very deep level. So I had religion shoved down my throat. I wanted nothing to do with any kind of religion. I didn't want anything to do with God. I still don't believe in God. So when I got sober, you know, I love Kevin Griffin. He's a friend of mine. I use Kevin Griffin's book, One Breath at a Time, to work the steps, and I recommend that to others. And so finding out that, and I'm even uncomfortable with higher power. What's that thing that's greater than you? You know, for me, it's changed through the years. You know, the universe is bigger than me. I can turn it over to the universe. That I can put some faith into this thing that's bigger than me. But the thing that I go back to again and again, my home group or my sangha, collectively is greater than me. Collectively, they make better decisions. I ask my sober friends, and I ask my teachers and my Kalyan Amitas their opinion on things when it's, I don't make big decisions by myself most of the time. I ask others. And I don't necessarily do what they say, but I'll listen. So that for sure is a thing that's bigger than me. This call right now, this is bigger than me. This is us. There's no me in this. It's us. So hope that helps. How have you had success blending Buddhist recovery with 12-step program without feeling like you're betraying one of them? I never felt like I betrayed it. You know, and for me, I never felt like I was never a big book Bible thumper. I never felt like I had 2 solid feet in 12-step because of my non-belief in God and a higher power. And you know, also I practice Buddhism. You know, I'm in the insight tradition, and I don't have a higher power. I don't, you know, I don't. Such a big subject. I personally don't have a problem with it. You know, that thing that's offered in 12-step, they say, you know, take what works and leave the rest. Very much like the Buddha said, you know, the raft metaphor. There's this raft on the edge of this raging river. The raft floats. You take the raft. You get to the other side. You use the raft as long as it's useful. Are you going to carry it up the mountain? No, you just set it down. Use it as long as it works. If having a higher power works for you, fantastic. I don't have any judgment on that. Do it. I know tons of people that are Buddhists that still believe in God. Nothing wrong with it. Be true to yourself, right?
Any closing comments, Gary? And where are you teaching next? Where can people find you?
Oh, well, again, I want to express my gratitude for Vimalasara. You reside here. You are in my heart. I appreciate you so much. I got tons of gratitude and love for you. So Thank you. I teach at Portland Insight Meditation Community. If you go to portlandinsight.org, we have lots of stuff going on. I do a group on Wednesday nights. It's not a class. It's an ongoing weekly group. Surprise, surprise! It's called Boundless Heart. I do lots of other stuff on online, but that's the easiest way to find me. Website coming up soon, boundlessheartdharma.com.
Okay. So before people leave, I want to talk about dana, because some of the dana does go to the teacher Gary. So nobody's paid, and one of the ways that you can express your gratitude is by giving dana. It's a traditional practice in Buddhism. We don't charge for these teachings, and in a way, if you're able, part of dana is actually coming here and showing up. So yeah, please give if you're able to. We know it's during COVID, and for some people that is really difficult. So an opportunity for you to give, and give another thank you to Gary. Also, as you say, you can find him on portland.org. I also want to let you know that our next teaching will be the first Sunday of September, and we're going to have Ralph Still looking at embodiment and looking how we can take these practices somatically. And I want to tell you, I've just put a link here. Kevin Griffin and I are both teaching together a course which starts tomorrow. So if you're interested, it's 3 Mondays starting tomorrow, 6:30 Pacific time, and it's called The 4 Great Efforts of Recovery. So check that out. The link for dana, I will put it again. If you can save, Gary, can you said a website, can you put it in the chat? If you see, there's 3 dots in the chat, and if you click on those 3 dots, it will save all the chat for you, so that you don't have to cut and paste. For some reason, this it's not hyperlinked, but that's the link. And you can always go to Buddhist Recovery Network and find find where you can donate. Yeah. So again, I just want to say a big thank you to Gary. I love the way that you taught that practice of metta. There's so many different ways, and it was a unique way. I really loved it. Thank you, and your teachings, and I can see from the chat that many people benefited. And I want to hand back over to you, Gary, for you to have your last words. Oh, Gary, people are asking for your private website so that they can actually just donate to you.
I have somebody working on my website right now, so it's not, I think there's a placeholder, so there's not a website to donate.
Do you have Venmo or PayPal?
I do. I'll put the PayPal address as Gary Sanders PDX, as in Portland, Gary Sanders PDX @gmail.
Yeah.
I'll put that. Sanders PDX. Yes, I am a hunt and peck, 2 fingers kind of typing guy.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the email address. Oof. that word says PayPal. So Vimalasara talked about generosity. The Buddha talked in many different venues. He offered generosity as the primary practice to start with. That meditation may be later. So I want to thank you all for being generous, for sharing your practice today, for sharing your hearts and your truths. And if there's any merit that has arisen out of our combined practice today, may we offer it out to all beings, especially the ones suffering addiction. May we offer it out to all beings so that they may be free. May all beings find happiness in the causes of happiness. May all beings find peace in the causes of peace. May we all wake up together.